What's up, guys? Today I'm going to do a review of these Thomastik-Infeld strings, guitar strings. I've been wanting to try these out for a long time, and they're a string that not a lot of people know about. They're not one of the main kind of popular brands like the Dario, Elixirs, these other brands, Martin strings, which I tried before. And so I was curious to try. I'm kind of always curious to see if there's something better out there that, makes my guitar sound better, because I always want it to sound as good as possibly can. So I bought these, and they're a little bit more expensive than most strings. So I think these are around $25 for a pack on Amazon, versus if you buy like a set of Elixirs, costs around $10 to $11, $12 a pack on Amazon. Dario, around the same kind of thing. So I've used, probably my favorite strings up to this point were the phosphor bronze, the Dario, the coated phosphor bronze. I think they're nano coated is the way what they're called. I also liked, there was an Elixir, the nano coated ones that I also liked, which is not quite as thick of a coating, but still a little bit of a coating. So I've always really enjoyed the sound of those strings. I tried the Martins as well, but they just didn't last quite as long. They sound great, but they just don't last as long as the Elixirs or the Dario. So I wanted to go ahead and try these. These are not a coated string, but they're made differently. So at the back here it says, Plectrum are soft sounding strings for acoustic guitar with low tension on the bottom end, but they have a silk inlay. So that's a little bit different, I think. What matters is that these strings, these Plectrum Thomastik-Infeld strings, actually feel different than the Elixirs or the Martins, Darios, these normal kind of strings. They just don't have as much tension. So like if you go to bend, they're easier to bend. And then also when you're playing bar chords, though they are still steel strings, they don't feel as difficult to press down. So that's the other thing that I really like about them. So if you're having a lot of trouble, you're doing lots of practicing with steel strings, and your fingers are getting super tired, which they do, practicing with acoustic guitar, you might want to try these, just because you might get a little bit more practice time out of your hands before they get tired. Only problems, I would say, with these strings are that the low E string is thicker than most low E strings, has a longer diameter than most low E strings, so it doesn't quite fit in my nut right here. So it fits okay, like it still kind of gets in there, but it's not 100% in there like all the other strings. All the other ones, the E through the A string, they're fine, they fit right into the nut, but that that low E doesn't quite fit into the nut, so that could be a problem on your guitar. So the other thing that was a kind of a problem with them is that they don't hold their intonation quite as fast as most strings. So most strings, if I put on a new set, after a couple hours, they're pretty much just like solid. They hold their intonation. But these strings, it took me about 2 days before they really started to hold their intonation and weren't going out of tune. So they take a little bit longer to kind of like stay in tune, I noticed, than most strings. That said, to me it's kind of worth it, because I like the sound of this low E. It's like a thicker low E string, but it seems to have a little bit more like bottom to it because of that thickness. And then the fact that they're not quite as difficult to press down as normal steel strings kind of made that a plus for me. I'm glad that I bought them for 25 bucks. It was worth it. Will I buy another pair? Yeah, actually I think that I will. I'm kind of getting used to these now, so I might stick with these, at least for the time being. They're not to the point that I'm like, I have to have these, but I think it's probably worth it to me, because I kind of like the lower tension. Alright, enjoy your Thomastik-Infeld strings, and I hope this review helps you guys out.